Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a 14-4 loss and series loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Needless to say, the last time the Rangers were in Phoenix, the trip went a little bit better. And we'll leave it at that. We're going to get into everything here in just a little bit. The scoring, some of the key moments in the game, some of the players of the game, or at least players that had decent games amidst a blowout loss. And then we're going to start previewing the weekend series that the Rangers have coming up with the Mariners. Some exciting things to look forward to, I think, in this weekend set, particularly the major league debut of Kumar Rocker tomorrow, and the season debut of Jacob deGrom on Friday. I'm going to be very excited to see both those guys start for the Rangers, even if it is in the midst of a losing season. I think there are definitely some things to look forward to yet. But before we get into all that, y'all know here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers, and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Appreciate y'all choosing Right on Rangers for all of your post-game content and Rangers content in general. If you're not following the account, you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that follow or subscribe button. Stay up to date with all of our latest content. And hit that notification bell or button as well. Get notified every time we go live or post one of our shorts or reels. Appreciate you guys. Well, let's get right into this one. We had a number of different things go wrong right off the bat. Cody Bradford, we had kind of talked about this. Cody Bradford has just been an absolutely dominating pitcher at Globe Life Field. At Globe Life Field, Cody Bradford has a 2.75-ish ERA. I'm not going to get the stat right on the fly here, but it's really, really good at Globe Life. And it was a small sample size, but we did bring up yesterday that away from Globe Life this year, Bradford has struggled. There's only been 2 starts that he's had on the road this year. It's just so happened to fall where he's pitched mostly at home. But Cody Bradford, in his 2 starts on the road this year, has not been very good. The ERA was close to 5. And this first inning could not have gone worse for Cody Bradford. 3 runs right away in the bottom of the first inning. Rangers put up a 0 in the top half. And then bottom of the first right away, you had double, triple, home run. At that point, I don't know who felt confident that this was going to be a great game when the Diamondbacks go double, triple home run to start it off. Marte had an outstanding game. Corbin Carroll had a pretty nice game as well, 2 for 5. Grichuk hitting 3-hole for the Diamondbacks. Grichuk was 2 for 5 with 3 RBI. Randall Grichuk, man, who would have thought? Just did not go Cody Bradford's way today. Bottom of the second inning started out with a Suarez home run. Suarez, Diamondbacks third baseman, was 4 for 4 on the day. Bottom of the second inning, a home run and double to start out. Marte singled again to make it 5-0. And we pretty much, I think at that point, as Rangers fans, thought that this one was over. Rangers tried to kind of pull at the heartstrings a little bit. Ezekiel Duran had a big 2-out opportunity. I believe it was in the 5th inning, if I'm not mistaken, top of the 5th inning. Ezekiel Duran had bases loaded and flew out to center field. It was 8-4 at that point. Rangers were potentially one swing away from making the game very, very interesting, but it was not meant to be. Duran, again, flies out to center, and that was pretty much the closest that the Rangers would ever get in this one. The Diamondbacks would go on to score 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning to push the lead to 11-4. They would tack on 3 more runs in every subsequent inning, 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th. And the Diamondbacks beat the Rangers by double digits by a score of 14-4. Jordan Montgomery gets the save. He goes 3 strong innings. I'm sure that felt good for Monty. Monty's having a pretty bad season, but I'm sure that felt good going up against the former team, the team that didn't re-sign you. Although, look, I'm glad we didn't for 25 million. But look, going up against your former squad, you always want to pitch well. And Montgomery definitely did that today, coming in, getting the 3-inning save. Not bad. His first save might be the first save of his career. The Rangers actually hit Merrill Kelly pretty well today. Of course, you might remember Merrill Kelly in game 2 of the World Series shut down the Rangers. I think it was a 9-1 game or something like that, a complete blowout. Rangers actually did well to get to Merrill Kelly today. He only lasted 4 innings. The problem was on the other side, the Rangers just had nobody that could shut down the Diamondbacks offense. And this is an offense, Arizona's, that has been rolling of late. They just torched Justin Verlander in Houston on Sunday night. And I'm not shocked that they came out swinging in this series. Would have expected a little bit better from Cody Bradford. The road home splits aside, I would have expected a little bit better out of him. But maybe it's a thing. I mean, I don't want it to be a thing, but maybe it's a thing. Cody Bradford on the road, astoundingly worse than what he is at Globe Life Field. I mean, I'll give you the splits here in a second for anybody that did not catch the show yesterday. And I think these will be updated from today. But the splits, Cody Bradford at home this year, 2.57 ERA. 2.57 ERA, 4-1 record, 49 innings pitched, 44 strikeouts, a .78 whip. Opponents are batting 174 versus Bradford in the friendly confines of Globe Life. And then on the road, Bradford has an 8.10 ERA, 4 games on the road, 3 games starting, 16 2/3 innings. Opponents are batting 310 off Cody Bradford on the road, and he has a 1.5 whip. Not good. Look, 16 innings compared to 49. Obviously, a much smaller sample size. Don't know what the splits are in his career. Cody Bradford, of course, has a pretty young career at this point. But the ERA balloons to 3.97 after it was, I think slightly above 3 or maybe a little bit below 3. That was Cody Bradford's day today. Something to monitor. I mean, again, I don't know how much stock to really put in it at this point, but not good. And I did have my reservations going into this one. It does always seem like we get an outstanding start from Cody when he's at Globe Life. It's been a little hit or miss, obviously, when he's been on the road. Not Cody's day. It did appear he was missing location today, but I got to be honest, it seemed like the Diamondbacks were just on. There were pitches that he was throwing below the zone, off speed, and the Diamondbacks were still taking it for a ride. So I don't even know if I want to say Cody Bradford was just having a wild day today. I think the Diamondbacks, really, you got to give them credit too. There were some pitches. I had the game going, and then I had the pitch track up too. There were some pitches he was throwing, again, well below the zone, and the Diamondbacks were just going down and getting it. It's like at that point, what can you do? You just kind of tip your cap and you move on. But the Diamondbacks are in a groove right now offensively. Rangers, I think, had to face them at the wrong time for sure. They have been hitting their stride of late. The Diamondbacks are a really good team, a team that is going to be going to the playoffs again. This Diamondbacks team, I mean, look, the Rangers obviously are constructed a little bit differently than the D-backs are. But I will say the Diamondbacks and the success that they've had this year, it's what you would have expected from the Rangers. I mean, the Diamondbacks are 82-64, 18 games above 500. And then you've got the Rangers 6 games under 500, scuffling, just looking like a shell of themselves. The Diamondbacks are looking like a team that could be dangerous in October. And I've said multiple times on the show, they have my support. I would love to see the Diamondbacks knock out the Phillies, the Dodgers. My pick was the Dodgers coming out of the NL, but I would love to see the Diamondbacks cause some havoc just like they did last year. And there's nobody in the AL that I'd like to see win it. So I'm pretty much all Diamondbacks when the Rangers' nail has finally been placed in the coffin. So look, it's a fun team to watch. They have a lot of young hitters. They've got some pop. They don't have like the big name stars, but they've just got quality players. And if you really do watch the team night in and night out, I don't, but look, being out on the West Coast, I do see the Diamondbacks, I feel like a little bit more just on TV, stuff like that. They are they are a pretty fun team, I must admit. Marte, Peterson, Walker, Zach Gallen, all these pitchers that are really having pretty good seasons. I think that they are definitely a team I'm going to root for in October if the Rangers, and look, clearly it's a very, very long shot. Probably shouldn't even be saying it, but when the Rangers get officially eliminated, I'll be happy to support the Diamondbacks. Hopefully, they can knock out some of the big boys and maybe get all the way back to that World Series, avenge the loss from last year, do what the Rangers in 2010 and 2011 couldn't do. That's what I'd like to see. Now, going into the game today, let's note a few different things. We talked Cody Bradford. We didn't have anyone of note come out of the bullpen behind him at that point. He had given up 8 runs. It was an 8-4 game. We had Anderson come in, and then Owen White comes in after him. Chase Anderson, to clarify, by the way. So Chase Anderson comes in, looked pretty ugly. 4 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 1/3. Owen White came in, again, wasn't effective. At this point, I wouldn't expect the Rangers to be throwing anybody really of note in an 8-4 game, but it just goes to show you next year, the Rangers have some work to do. I don't think you want to continue to trot out some of these guys into 2025. You knew that the game was over when Anderson comes out. I mean, I didn't have any hope at that time that there were going to be no runs allowed. And sure enough, I mean, 2 more runs quickly allowed, and then another 2. And yeah, Anderson, just not thinking he's going to be anywhere in the long-term plans, probably his last year with the club. But at this point, you need some guys that can eat up innings. I get it, but just disheartening when you see some of these guys come out of the pen. I get it to an extent, but it's just disheartening. In an 8-4 game, I understand you're not going to be throwing the cream of the crop, but as a fan, you see Anderson come into the game and you're like, all right, this is about to get even uglier. I mean, did anybody have a different thought than that? I mean, definitely not me. First reaction was, this is about to get a lot more ugly. And sure enough, it did. Yeah, the Rangers, look, they are a frustrating team at times. Baseball Network, what's up, by the way? Thanks for tuning in. They're a frustrating team. They can look really, really good when the starting pitching is on. When they score some runs early, they can look really, really good. And when the long ball is working for them and they're driving the baseball in the gaps, they're getting the big hits, it looks like last year. But they just cannot be consistent enough with that style of play. And you look at a team like the Diamondbacks, can kind of do it all. You had guys hitting doubles today, hitting home runs. You had guys singling, just doing a little bit of everything, taking walks. The Diamondbacks worked a couple of walks today, only struck out 6 times, put the ball in play. So Diamondbacks really, I think, no huge names, right? I mean, look, Marte is an outstanding player. Christian Walker is definitely a strong power bat in that lineup. Corbin Carroll, he's done better of late, but he's had a pretty terrible year. I mean, the regression for Carroll has been pretty awful. But look, they've just got guys up and down that lineup that can hit and put the ball in play. And when you can do that, you're going to have some success in this league, no doubt. The Rangers, their problem is they cannot consistently get that big hit, and they can't go station to station with any consistency. And so that's just a recipe for disaster. Today, the Rangers did go 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. So not terrible average, but you left 9 on base. And no bigger moment than Zeke Duran not able to produce there with the bases loaded. The clutch hit when you're down. I don't want to say it's eluded the Rangers completely because of late it feels like they've been getting it. And even in that moment, I got to say, I was wrong. I kind of thought to myself, maybe he's going to slap a line drive up the right center alley right here, and we're going to get a couple more runs and make this interesting. It just kind of felt like it was building that way. I was wrong. Zeke Duran, look, it's hard to really judge a player by one at bat in a game, but it just sucks when you can't come through in those big moments. And that would have been a huge moment. Maybe it gets it within two, and then you never know what the Rangers decide to do with the pitching situation, right? The Rangers could very easily have then gone to some of their big boys out in the bullpen, but you don't get that big hit there, and you got to bring Anderson in the game. Just kind of how it goes. So at this point, we have a few other stat lines that I think are of note. Wyatt Langford, 2 for 5. Adolis Garcia, 2 for 4. Nate Lowe, 1 for 2 with 2 walks. So on base a few different times today. That's great to see. Josh Young, 1 for 3 with a walk. So there were some good stat lines. Absolutely. Simi was 2 for 5, hit a home run today. Nice to see him of late coming on a little bit more strong. But by and large, you had Josh Smith in the 2 spot going 0 for 4. You weren't getting anything out of the bottom of the order. Duran, Kelly, and Tavares all hitless. So this just was not the Rangers series. You go for a 2-game quick set. Hard to really make a rash or a quick judgment based off a quick 2-game set, but the Rangers thoroughly got outplayed in this series. Diamondbacks get a little bit of revenge. I wish that we were going to Seattle with a little bit more momentum. Like, if that could have been today's game, could have been a little bit more of a back and forth. It looked like it was going to be, but I would have liked to have seen the team at least lose competitively today before they go on this 4-game set up to Seattle. It wasn't a very competitive loss today. For a second, it got ugly quick. And you just wonder if that is going to play into the psyche as you go up to Seattle for this 4-game set. I don't know. We'll see. I always have said, you guys have heard me say this a lot on the show, like this Rangers team is resilient. They bounce back. I think that I'm kind of done saying that. I think there's been too many moments this year where you thought, hey, they're the 2023 Rangers. They just went through a bad stretch. They're going to come out and kill it in the next series. And you just keep on waiting and waiting for it. Now, look, credit to the Rangers. 4 series in a row? They win. Absolutely. Got to be happy with it. Some of the wins, I think, if we're really being honest, low scoring, very, very good starting pitching performances. The offense had a few nice games here and there, but by and large, really felt like the Rangers were winning a lot of tight ball games throughout that set. You just still never really felt like they were clicking per se. And I feel like going up to Seattle, I'm a little nervous it could get ugly. I'm excited for Kumar Rocker. I'm excited for Jacob deGrom Thursday, Friday. I'll absolutely be watching for those 2 guys alone. I think the deGrom start is going to be short. I wouldn't be surprised if the Kumar Rocker start was also short. So you're probably going to see a lot of bullpen guys over the next couple of days. I would be shocked if deGrom or Rocker go past 5 innings. So you're going to need a lot of bullpen pieces over the course of the next few days. But I will absolutely be tuning in for Kumar Rocker's Major League debut and Jacob deGrom's season debut. I will say I don't know about the results part of things, though. That side of things, I feel like this could get ugly, especially if you don't get great starts from Rocker or deGrom. I probably would trust deGrom a little bit more to have a decent start than Rocker. I'm not trying to put out anything negative in terms of my prediction for Kumar. I really have no idea how he's going to do tomorrow. I don't have a feel for it. If you've got a prediction on the Rocker start tomorrow, drop it in the comments. I haven't really reflected on it too much or thought about it too much, but I really cannot put my finger on how I think he's going to do tomorrow. A part of me says he's hot right now. He's feeling it. and he's going to come out and pitch strong. Another part of me says it's probably going to be middle of the road. I don't think he's going to get shelled. I would be really surprised if Rocker gets shelled, but I think it's going to be somewhere in between middle of the road and a really, really good outing from him. But again, would be very surprised if he goes past 5 innings. Same thing for DeGrom. So we'll see. But you feel like these 2 games in Zona, just not a great way to begin the week as you go off to Seattle, a place where the Rangers doesn't feel like they played particularly well at T-Mobile Park out there. I hope to be wrong. I've said so many times when the Rangers look awful in a series that they have great bounce back ability, but I don't feel that way as strongly anymore about this team. I think this team is just incredibly streaky. They get in ruts, they can get out of them and then have a little bit of sustained success. And just right when you think, okay, they might have a shot here, right? Like, I know there was some people online kind of talking up, hey, we're only 6 games out. We got 18 games left to go. Maybe something could happen here. It's like right when you start saying that is when the Rangers absolutely soil the bed. It's like clockwork. Like, didn't it happen right before the All-Star break? We beat Houston 2 out of 3 in Houston. We were like 2 games back and everybody was super pumped going into All-Star break. Here we go. Only 2 games out. Let's go. And then after the All-Star break, the Rangers couldn't win a series until the Chicago White Sox came to town. Every time the Rangers start playing well and they get even remotely close to the playoffs, it's like meltdown instantly incoming. And look, it's only 2 games, but you go and you now play a pretty good Seattle team in a place where you haven't played great. Personally, I am a little on the fence about how this series is going to go. If they can get off to a good start, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers at least get a split, maybe take 3 out of 4. I feel like if the first game is not so good, you could see a little bit of a tailspin. And it could be a bit of a rough weekend up in the Northwest. I just want this Rangers team to finish strong at this point. Some of these losses are embarrassing. 14-4, 6-0. Let me go to comments here. John, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Bradford did get rocked. He has not been great this year on the road. It's a small sample size, but not great on the road. The ERA is pretty ugly on the road this year. Bradford's ERA now almost at 4 after the outing, the 8 earned runs given up today. Yeah, when we gave up those 2 home runs in the first inning, 3-0. Again, it starts out double, triple homer. It's like almost a friggin' cycle in the first 4 batters, double, triple homer. And then in the bottom of the second inning, we don't put anything up in the top half, right? And then you go to the bottom of the second, you give up a couple of more runs, and there we go. Game, set, match. I mean, Zeke had a chance there in the bottom or the top of the 5th, 8-4, bases loaded, 2 outs. You got a shot there. You get a base knock, you make it 8-6. Anything can happen at that point. But Zeke pops out or flies out to center field, and you're kind of thinking at that point, this one's probably over. So we've got some opportunities. We had some opportunities today, did not cash in. And yeah, I agree. One of the biggest butt kickings of the year. Icing on the cake was Monty coming in and slamming the door. Look, it's nothing personal with Monty. I mean, look, he's not had a good year this year in Arizona. This is probably one of the highlights of his season, which tells you all you need to know about how his year has gone. He shut down the Texas Rangers. I mean, the Texas Rangers that isn't going to make the playoffs and has been a pretty mediocre offense at best all season long. This is probably Montgomery's highlight. And he's making $25 million a year, and he's out in the bullpen coming into games like this. I mean, it's not great for Jordan Montgomery right now, beyond the fact that he's making $25 million a year. I guess that is pretty great. But yeah, icing on the cake, no doubt. Just kind of a kick while you're down. Hey, let's bring out the dude that was your hero last year. And then he goes ahead and throws up 3, 4 scoreless innings, whatever it was. Just can't make it up. Do you know if Carter knows how to bunt? He could do that against lefties. I think that a lot of these guys have said this a lot on the show. I don't think there's a lot of master bunters anymore in Major League Baseball. I think there's a few guys in every organization that can do it really well, but so many of these guys are never asked to bunt, right? Carter might be working on it, but Evan Carter coming up through high school, through the Rangers minor league system, the dude is not bunting a ton. He's being asked to be the heart of the order. And those are just guys that you're not going to bunt a lot. So I don't know how good he is at it, but I can't imagine he's probably practicing bunting a ton coming up through our system. Look, it would definitely be a decent thing to have as a part of his repertoire with that speed, but it's just easier said than done. And bunting at the major league level is an art form. It's not easy to do. A lot of people do think it is, but when you're facing guys that throw upper 90s and have nasty off speed stuff, it's not as easy as you think to get a bunt down. It's just not. Some guys are not comfortable doing it. Really don't have an inside scoop on Evan Carter and his ability. But anything that the Rangers can do at this point to generate runs and to get base runners moving from station to station in 2025, I'm here for it. Let me keep going here. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. Thank you so much. We're just going through the game, the Rangers game from today. They lose this one 14-4. They drop both games in this 2-game set to the Diamondbacks, hop on a flight to Seattle where they will play a 4-game set against the Mariners. And look, we talked through the pitchers today. Anderson, White come in after the game, Bradford leaves after giving up the 8 earned runs. And you just knew at that point it was over. I mean, Anderson, White coming in, kind of a foregone conclusion. Really, any player the Rangers have named Anderson, whether it's Grant or in the case of today, obviously it was Chase, but I think it doesn't matter at this point who they're throwing, which Anderson they're throwing. It's just not good when you see it coming out of the bullpen. Owen White, ditto, a guy I don't even know why the Rangers kept around. I said very adamantly, why did you not DFA Owen White? You could have kept Jonathan Hernandez, DFA'd Owen White. The dude has not done anything since coming up with the big league club. He's got a 24 ERA this year. I know it's only in 3 games, but Owen White has just done absolutely nothing to inspire any confidence. Dude doesn't even have a strikeout on the season. I mean, there are no strikeouts on the season. 8 earned runs in 3 innings, 9 hits in 3 innings. And the guy is clearly not ready. And anytime he's come up, it feels like this has been the result. I know he only gets these short stints. He's only got 5 major league games under his belt. I don't know. I have not been very encouraged by what I've seen from Owen White. There's not a lot of swing and miss there, and there hasn't been hardly any success. Not a big fan of the Rangers trying to trot out Owen White next year as a part of the bullpen. Really, really hope that that is not going to be the plan. I did not get to watch a ton of the game today in the broadcast, so I appreciate the insider information here. They talked about White during the game. He has no out pitch at all. That makes sense because the dude does not have a major league strikeout to his name. That's pretty insane. You pitch 5 games and you don't have 1 strikeout. I mean, that is, I think, pretty alarming in and of itself. 5 major league games, no strikeouts. That to me is a problem. And yeah, no out pitch makes a ton of sense. So Owen White, I think you could maybe keep him down at AAA, but I really hope the plan is not to trot him out as even an innings eater or middle relief guy next year. Unless the dude just lights it up in spring training, finds an out pitch, and looks like a new man in February when pitchers and catchers report, maybe. But it hasn't been pretty for Owen White in the major league so far. Definitely not a guy that I would like to be a part of the plans for 2025. Now, in terms of the offense today, We went through everybody's line, everybody's stat line, went through some of the big moments in this one. Nice to see a couple of Rangers in this one with the extra base hit going, Dolly, Stimmy. But at the end of the day, too many opportunities, missed, 9 guys left on base. Zeke Duran with the big spot in the top of the 5th with the bases loaded, not able to come through. That would have made it an interesting game. It was only a 4-run deficit at that point. I mean, grand slam, unlikely, but ties it there. Ball in the gap makes it a 1-run game. Base hit makes it a 2-run game. I think that was really the moment. And after the Rangers miss out on that moment with Zeke Duran, bases loaded, top of the 5th. And then the Diamondbacks tack on a few more in the bottom half of the 5th. You knew at that point that the game was over. And then you see Anderson and Owen White trotting out, and you really know that it's over. Well, let's go ahead and let's start previewing the games for this weekend, shall we? So the Rangers, I'm sure, are already in Seattle at this point, getting ready for their game tomorrow against the Mariners. And as we've talked about already on the show and on past shows leading up to tonight, Kumar Rocker is going to be getting the start for the Rangers tomorrow. And we'll go through the pitching preview. Obviously, there's not going to be a lot of stats from the Mariners. Rocker has never pitched in the major leagues before. This is his major league debut. So he will be opposed by Miller of the Mariners. And we saw Miller a little bit earlier, talking about Bryce Miller. And he did pretty well, I think, against us. I think it was kind of a mixed bag, actually. I think one start we did well against him. Another start, he pitched pretty well against us. Texas boy, Bryce Miller grew up in Mount Pleasant, Texas, went to Texas A&M. So maybe a little added motivation for him. Who knows? You never know who these guys were cheering for growing up. Maybe he's an Astros fan at heart. I don't know. Either way, that's got to be tough. You got to play against 2 Texas teams and you're a Texas boy. I know if I was in his shoes, look, you get over it and you start loving your team. I totally understand. But you know, when you get drafted and you got to go play against your favorite teams growing up, it's like, man, this sucks. I don't know. If I was a Rangers fan my whole life and then I got drafted by the Astros, look, I'm sure I would go ahead, pony up, suck it up, get paid the big bucks, and play to the best of my ability. But I'd be lying if just a little bit of me was like, did it have to be the Astros? Right? I don't know. Anyways, so Bryce Miller tomorrow. 2.31 ERA in his last 7 games. And last time out against St. Louis on September 6th, 6 innings pitched, no earned runs. So Bryce Miller definitely having a good year. 3.18 ERA on the season, 11-8 record. The Rangers against Bryce Miller, they have some guys with some good numbers. Dolly is 2 for 6 with a home run. The only Ranger with the home run against Bryce Miller on the roster. Jonah Heim, 3 for 6. Maybe this will be a good game for Jonah Heim to break out. We've got Josh Young, 2 for 3. Wyatt Langford, 1 for 1 against Bryce Miller, the probable starter for the Mariners tomorrow. Simi, 1 for 7. Not what you want to see there from the leadoff hitter. But maybe, just to use the opposite logic, maybe he's due. Josh Smith, 0 for 2. Leote, 1 for 4. So on the other side, Mariners, no stats against Kumar Rocker, obviously. Maybe some guys have faced him at some point. It would have to be some of the recent call-ups in the minor leagues from the Mariners system, but I doubt it. So excited about Kumar Rocker. If we look at Kumar Rocker's stats this year in the minor leagues, 196 ERA in 9 starts, 10 total games, but 9 starts, 196 ERA, 37 nearly innings pitched, 55 strikeouts. That's the number you want to see. 37 innings pitched, 55 strikeouts for Rocker in the minor leagues this year. That's what you hope you get out of him at the big league level. Easier said than done. A lot more advanced once you get up to the major leagues. The difference between AAA and the majors is pretty big. And I don't expect Rocker to have that same strikeout rate pitching for the Rangers. But clearly, this is a guy that can get swing and miss. And this is a number that really impresses me. So in those 37 innings pitched, only 5 walks. I love that number. Absolutely love that number. So this is a guy that has commanded the strike zone in the minor leagues. Hopefully he can continue to do that. When you get up to the bigs, hitting your spots is so key. Wonder if it's going to be Jonah Heim tomorrow behind the dish. I think Kelly was behind the plate tonight, so you'd think it'd probably be Heim's turn. Heim a little bit better defensively than Kelly as well. Clearly a Gold Glove catcher. I would like to think that he'll be out there helping out the rookie, navigating his first major league start. So I'm excited for the Rocker debut, no doubt. And I think every Rangers fan should be. Gonna try not to put too much stock in it. I think we all got really, really hyped up for Jack Leiter in that first start that he had against Detroit earlier this season. And he had a really rough outing. And it's easy to turn on guys when the expectations are so high. I'd encourage every Rangers fan, go into it with a little bit of tempered hopes in this one. Rocker has been pitching phenomenally. If you can get a 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs stat line from him, be very, very pleased. 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. I would be more than pleased with something like that from Rocker. So we'll see how Kumar does tomorrow. Excited for it. The Mariners going into this game. Let's check things out here. What kind of role they've been on of late in their past 10. So let's check out the standings. By the way, Rangers now 8 games out of a wild card spot with, let's see, it was game 140, 16 games to go. You're 8 games out, 7.5 games out. And the Astros have now lost 3 in a row, by the way. So imagine you win the last 2 games. You win in Arizona back-to-back. You're only 5.5 games out. And you've got 16 games left. Again, still a long shot, but you're making it interesting. And the Rangers just have not been able to make it interesting when they get close. So at this point, I am putting the emphasis on finishing strong in 2024, heading into 2025. And hopefully the Rangers can play spoiler for a team in Seattle that has a little bit of a better shot at this point of making the playoffs. The Mariners are 4 games out of the AL West lead, 4.5 games out of the wild card. It would be nice to be able to play spoiler here right now. We'll see if they can pull it off. Let me keep on going back here and checking out a few of the comments here. How do you win the World Series and miss the playoffs? That is the big question, but look, a lot of teams have done it. Look, the 2014 Boston Red Sox were 20 games under 500, 71-91. They won the World Series in 2013, and then the next year they were 71-91, missed the playoffs, and I think the manager got fired, I want to say. So this isn't unprecedented. It happens. The Rangers, I think technically, if they were to lose like their next 15 games, could end up with a worse record than that Boston Red Sox team in 2014 did. But I don't think that's going to be the case. In fact, I think the Rangers still have a shot to finish 500. It's going to be tough, not going to be easy by any means, but I do think it can happen. So it does work out where the Rangers have a very disappointing year this year. I think they are going to be competitive in 2025. I've said it a lot of times. A full season with Jacob deGrom, retooling the lineup a little bit. You get a healthy Evan Carter. You get a full season of Josh Young. I do think that those are all things that are going to factor into the Rangers being more successful next year in 2025. Who knows who they add in free agency, trades, that kind of thing. Dakota, I do think there was a bit of a roster dump after that. I don't know if I'm going to get this wrong or not, but I think that they did make some pretty sizable trades. I forget who was all involved. Was that like the Carl Crawford, the Carl Crawford years? Like they signed Carl Crawford to like a big deal. They had Adrian Gonzalez. I think it was that kind of era for that 2014 team. They had Pedroia. They had Big Papi, of course. So I do think that is correct. And that team in 2014 for the Red Sox, they were a bad team. I think, like I said, manager was fired. I don't think that's going to happen with the Rangers this year. But again, it's not unprecedented. And I don't think that anybody has been using the excuse, it was a long season last year. The playoff run to the World Series was so taxing that the Rangers were just a shell of themselves. I don't think anybody's using that excuse. Maybe it factored in a little bit. I think more than anything, the Rangers got really bad luck this year with injuries, really bad luck. And next year, they will hopefully be much more healthy. Again, full season of DeGrom, full season, hopefully, of Tyler Mahle, full season of Josh Young. Those three guys are pretty big contributors. Hopefully, a full season of Evan Carter. As Natalie is saying, a more experienced Wyatt Langford. I really do hope that that is the case. Hello from South Korea. Hey, that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in to the show today. Appreciate you. Thank you for the support of the channel. It means a lot. Come back again soon. That's awesome. From South Korea. Love it. Reaching everybody around the world here at Ride on Rangers. Look at us. Hey, I really got to say thank you to you guys for making the channel what it is. A great place to talk sports and talk baseball, especially Rangers baseball. Grateful for you guys. I agree with this comment. You know, it can take players time to figure out the major leagues. Unfortunately, it is a what have you done for me lately league. And unless you are a top draft pick, you're probably not going to get a huge runway in the majors. You're probably not. So I feel like there are some guys that can afford to struggle a little bit more than others can, right? You're a late round pick and you get an opportunity in the major leagues. You don't make the most of it. That might be your only shot. The Jack Leiters of the world that got drafted top 5 overall, they're going to have a longer runway because teams don't want to be wrong on their first round draft pick. That's why Wenzel lasted as long as he did. Wenzel was a 2019 nearly first round draft pick. I think he was a competitive balance pick after the first round. But Wenzel got drafted right before Gunnar Henderson, we learned. I mean, look, Wenzel, they hung on to that dude for 5 years before they dumped him. And he clearly had some success in AAA, but couldn't hack it at the major league level. Wenzel is no longer on the team. So I agree, it can take time to figure it out in the major leagues, but don't take too much time. Some of these teams are going to move on very, very quick. Let me keep on going here. So we have DeGrom going on Friday night. That's going to be a good one as well. DeGrom looks like is going to be opposed in that pitching matchup by, let's see here, loading, a to be determined starter. Sorry, that was anticlimactic. Seattle has not announced their starter for the rest of the weekend. Just Bryce Miller tomorrow night against Kumar Rocker. But Jacob DeGrom will start on Friday night in Seattle. I can't wait for that. Jacob DeGrom, by all accounts, great teammate, great dude, and just happens to be one of the best pitchers in the major leagues when healthy. Very excited for that debut from Jacob DeGrom. So now we check out some things around the league. If you want to talk anything else specific with the Rangers, throw it in the chat. Shohei Ohtani, of course, on the MLB.com homepage today, hitting his 47th homer, stealing his 48th base, trying to become the first player in Major League history to have a 50 home run, 50 stolen base season. Watching history, y'all. Looks like he's going to make it happen. He's got, 19 days to hit 3 homers and to steal 2 bases. I think he's probably going to get it done. He'd have to go on quite the cold streak. So Ohtani, the headline today, we've got Boston stunning the Orioles with a walk-off home run in the 10th to give them a series win. Red Sox, we were talking about them a little bit earlier tonight, still alive in the postseason race. And then we have, looks like the Diamondbacks getting on. Unfortunately, they don't miss a beat after a hamstring cramp ends Kelly's day early. Look, I don't think he was having his best day either, but that is correct. I think I left that part out. Kelly did leave with that hamstring cramp. So, again, wasn't his best day anyways, even if the day did get cut short early by injury. I actually thought the Rangers did well to get to Kelly and make him work hard, but Diamondbacks get on the front page. There was, let's see, A couple of other things of note: Braves continue to lean on rotation in the midst of wild card race. Looks like the Braves got a win over the actually they lost today to the Nationals 5-1. That National League wild card race is pretty tight, much like it is in the AL. So those are the main headlines from today. Don't think there's anything else really worth going over. Let's see. Francisco Lindor hit another home run, strengthening his MVP case. That is going to be an interesting debate, I think. You've got Lindor and you've got Ohtani in the NL. Lindor obviously playing every day. Ohtani, not so much. DHing and not playing in the field. I think that's what I meant to say there. Ohtani not playing in the field, just DHing. I do think you got to lean a little bit more towards the guy that plays both in the field and hits as well. That's just my feel for it. Look, I love Shohei. Think he's great. Glad he's not playing in the AL West against the Rangers anymore, but I think you got to give the nod to the guy that plays defense too. If the offensive stats are even somewhat close, but I have a feeling just the love for Ohtani is just going to be too much. I don't think Lindor is going to be able to squeak it out. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think it's going to be Ohtani again. And nobody thought that was going to happen with him not pitching this year. I think some people thought maybe it's a possibility, like a long shot, but with him not pitching, I don't think a lot of people expected another MVP trophy. I think he's got a pretty good chance to get it. So let's go ahead and let's check through any other comments, anything from TikTok here. I haven't looked much over here. Bruce Bochy on the firing block. Greg says from TikTok, I don't think Boch is on the firing block. I don't think so at all. I think that they're going to probably try and get him back for another year. Who are you going to go get? That's what I've said all season long. Who are you going to go get if you don't have Bruce Bochy? There's nobody out there that I feel better about than Bruce right now. A Cowboy fan on TikTok says, do you think the Texas Rangers going to make at least the wild card? No, I don't. I think that if they would have won both these games, we could have maybe said yes tonight. If they would have swept the Diamondbacks, the Astros are on a 3-game losing streak, maybe, but I don't think so anymore. Don't think so anymore. I thought it was about to get interesting, y'all, but like we said, just when it starts to get interesting, that is when the Rangers just completely let you down. And that's how it's been all season. Anytime they get remotely close to a playoff spot, that's what happens. It's unfortunate, but that has been the rhythm of this season. Let me keep going here. Dakota says, I agree with you, locating every day much more valuable, but MLB wants that international money. Yeah, I do think the pull of Shohei Ohtani is just so great. I do think he's going to get the MVP. I do think, though, Lindor, just for the record, I think Lindor is a little bit more deserving, having played, first of all, nearly every day shortstop out in the field. And then the Mets, obviously, a playoff team at this point, and it was not looking that way early. I think that's a pretty big argument for the Mets. They right now are in the playoffs. They're in a playoff spot at this moment in time. So for me, the Mets were kind of dead in the water early on. You remember they started out like 20-30 or something like that. Now the Mets are 14 games over 500 in a playoff spot. I mean, Ohtani clearly has a lot of other stars on that team, out on that Dodgers team. And the Mets do have some very good players too, but I think it's more impressive what Lindor's doing. And that's my opinion. If they give it to Ohtani, I can't say I'm going to be outraged, but just feel like Lindor is a very worthy candidate. And I think today adds another home run to the tally. Lindor, just for the stats, for the sake of going through those with you, 268 average, 31 bombs, 85 RBI, 27 stolen bases. He has cooled off a little bit the last 7 games. I think he's only hitting about $180 from what I saw on the ticker when I was watching TV a little bit earlier on. But I still think that the numbers pretty good considering where the Mets are at right now. And again, where they started at the beginning of the year. We'll see what happens. We shall see. Let's go back to Rangers. Couple last comments here. One thing Langford has improved since earlier on this season is his defense. I still think he needs to go back into the lab, keep getting better. He's had, I think, a number of plays he'd like to have back this year. Just had one a few games ago, tracking down a foul ball, a fly ball down the left field line, kind of whiffed on it. I think he's definitely got some work to do defensively. You would, I think, like to see him have been a little bit more polished coming out of college, playing SEC baseball out in the field. It is a step up playing in the major leagues, but I do hope he can get back in the lab, get more consistent with the power in his swing, driving baseballs out of the yard, and then seeing the defense improve. Those would be my two things to look for Wyatt next year. Don't know if you want to go into the season in 2025 putting as much pressure on him as you did this year. Rangers, I think, really tried to insert him into the heart of the order a little too early before he was ready. I hope that next year the expectations are where they need to be and they aren't forcing him into the 3-spot, 4-spot right away. Now, if he kills it in spring training, might be hard not to do that, but that's what I would do. I would try and ease Wyatt into the 2025 season, try and sign some other guys in free agency that can help take the burden off of him so you're not so dependent on a one-year guy who just got done with his rookie season. We'll see what the Rangers do. I'm very, very curious. Very, very curious. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We will be back at you tomorrow night after the Rangers hopefully get a win against the Mariners in Kumar Rocker's debut. Want to just say, again, another thank you to everyone watching live and to everyone watching this on the replay. If you're watching and you have not followed or subscribed yet to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, too, for spreading the word. If you know somebody that loves the Rangers, loves baseball, I also do other Dallas-Fort Worth sports. I do Cowboys, I do the Mavericks, and I also cover the Texas Longhorns. Football season heating up. So if you know anybody that's a fan of any of those teams either, I would greatly appreciate you telling them about my channel, telling them about the account, maybe sharing a video with them. That would mean a lot. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night. The weekend is approaching. We'll be here every night bringing you outstanding post-game coverage of every Rangers game. We got to enjoy this, y'all. The season is winding down. Only, 15 games left? That's crazy. I cannot believe I've done like 150 about 140 plus of these shows. It's absolutely wild to me. Some of y'all have been with me for well over 100 of them. The season has kind of flown by. I wish that it was going to end a little bit sweeter for the Rangers, but we are going to cherish and enjoy every one of these 15 games down the stretch, and I hope that you will do it with me. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night once again. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.